Hey, Mama, real quick before we dive in. If you're tired of starting over, tired of knowing what you want but not fully following through, tired of feeling like there's more for you but not quite living it yet, I need you to hear this. Your life is not going to change from more information. It changes when you become the woman who actually follows through. And that's the work I do. I help moms reconnect with themselves, get clear on what they truly want, and actually take the kind of action that creates real results in their life, their business, and how they show up every single day. Not surface level change, not temporary motivation, real transformation. So if you're at the point where you're done waiting, done overthinking, and ready to take your power back and do this differently, let's talk. I offer a free Limitless Mom strategy call where we get clear on exactly where you are, what's been keeping you stuck, and what it's going to take to move you forward. And listen, this is for the mom who's ready to take action, not someday, now. If that's you, the link is in the show notes. Let's get you where you know you're meant to be. Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Okay, mamas, I'm really excited for you to hear this conversation today because if you've ever felt like building a business as a mom means you have to be everywhere, posting all the time, showing up constantly, juggling everything, and somehow still trying to be present in your life, this episode is going to feel like a deep exhale. Because today I'm sitting down with Jenny, who has been in the online business space for nearly a decade. And what I love about her journey is how real it is. She didn't just build a business, she rebuilt it multiple times to actually fit her life as a mom. We're talking about simplifying, letting go of what doesn't work, and creating something sustainable, something that allows you to grow without burning yourself out. And honestly, some of the things she shares in this conversation might challenge what you've been told you have to do to become successful in the best way. So, if you've been craving more ease, more clarity, and a way to build something that actually works for your life, you're going to love this one. Let's dive in. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Jenny. Jenny, how are you doing today?
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Very excited to have you. Why don't we get started? If you will, just introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Jenny. I have been in business for almost 10 years now. This summer will be 10 years, which is
Oh, congrats.
crazy. I feel like I kind of a dinosaur in the online space because a lot of people like joined in 2020 and like half since then. So it's definitely interesting. I am a podcast manager and strategist. So I have a podcast production company and I've been doing that since like late 2018, early 2019. Before that, I was a VA. So I feel like that's kind of the online pipeline. You kind of go from like VA to like finding whatever your specialty is after that, because it's the easiest way to get started as a
Yeah.
service provider. But yeah, and then over the past couple of years, I've started helping moms start businesses as well, especially with a focus on service-based businesses, because that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And I have like a soft spot for service providers. So I've been focusing on that for the last couple years as well as like a kind of secondary thing. Like podcasting is still like my service-based business is still my bread and butter, but I love the coaching aspect and adding that in and getting that secondary income stream too.
Yeah.
Personally, I have two kids. My son is almost six. He'll be six in June. And my daughter is two, almost two and a half. So she'll be two and a half in a couple months. So I have relatively young children.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting going from like having a business, without kids to having a business with kids. Whereas I know a lot of people start their business after they have children, so they already like are experienced with that limited time. They don't really know what it's like to have a lot of time. So that was an interesting shift for me for sure.
Oh yeah, but it stretched you in such a great way, I'm sure, because I'm in it. I'm in the throes of it too, and I didn't start my business until I had my third kid. So,
Okay.
yeah, so it's been quite a journey, and I'd love to hear like for you to speak to that a little bit for moms who are
Mhm.
on the fence of like, can I start a business when I have little ones running around? Like, how do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can. Like I said, I started before I had kids, but I had to adjust my schedule so much after having kids. It was crazy. Like, I used to be able to work 40 plus hours a week. Sometimes I even work 60 hours a week if I wanted to. I mean, when I first started my business, my husband was in grad school and he was working full time as well. So, I had a lot of extra time because I didn't want to just sit down and watch reality TV. My husband was like at grad school. So I was like, let me just pour more into my business. I was also working in corporate at the time too for a little bit. Once I finally went like full time in my business, then obviously I had more time, but still I was able to really put a lot of hours in. And when you have children, you really can't do that. So once I had my son in 2020, I really had to restructure how my business ran, especially because he was born in the pandemic. That whole first year, I had very limited childcare.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
because that's just how it was.
Hmm.
So I really had to figure out how to make my business more sustainable. And during that time, I decided to go into more of an agency model. I am not in the agency model anymore, but it really served its purpose during that season. I was able to serve a ton of clients and really just focus and be that podcast strategist and like helping them get their shows launched. But I wasn't having to do like the editing and show notes and all that stuff. Like I was guiding the strategy, but I didn't have to like be the implementer because I just really didn't have the time to do that. Um,
Smart though.
but, after a couple years, I was like, I just don't really want to be managing this team. My team got to be like 8 women plus myself. So almost, a 10-person team at that point. And that was just too much for me. And I felt like I was constantly managing people. I wasn't able to like be as present with my clients because I was making sure my team was doing what they needed to be doing. And like the team wasn't giving me issues or anything. It
Yeah.
just was a lot of people to manage. And I really wanted to be more present in the client work. So eventually I really scaled back the agency to just be me, but I just found ways to streamline things. So I have a little bit of assistance here and there, but I do all the client work, all the strategy, everything. I have like assistants with other parts of my business that aren't directly involved with clients. But even now, I just have me and like one other very part-time person that helps out. And I just, simplified my processes, simplified everything that I could, and started doing that instead of relying on like a bigger team to assist me. So now, I mean, I work about 20 hours a week, maybe 25 on a week where I'm like launching something
Yeah.
or planning for a launch. But yeah, I really try to stick to the 20-hour work week. My son is in kindergarten. So,
Mhm.
I do have the hours of like 9 to 3, but I'm not spending that whole time working every single day. I have household tasks I need to take care of. We have sports and different things like that. I mean, I have my own appointments, the kids' appointments. There's lots
Yes.
going on. So even though I have more than 20 hours a week that I could work on my business, I
Hmm.
don't really because I mean, otherwise my house would look like a zoo, like it would be like a trash.
Girl,
So,
you are
yeah.
speaking to the choir. Trust me, I get it. I actually had to work a lot of my own mindset with that because I grew
Mhm.
up like with everything having to always be clean, clean, and
Yeah.
so I've learned to be okay with the mess. Like it's okay. It'll get clean when it gets clean, but we have like
Right.
our times that we, and of course teaching your kids helps a
Hmm.
lot too, like having them incorporate and help you out. It makes such a difference when you learn to delegate, and it's teaching them life skills that they need to learn for themselves too. So
Totally.
yeah, so
Totally.
I always understand that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and nothing
Yeah.
is perfect around here. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not like striving for perfection, but there's still things that need to
No.
get done. So it's not like a
Yeah.
pigsty?
Exactly. Of course. Of course. And it's
Yeah.
like that's what it's all about. Because some people like will probably, and I don't know if you get this a lot, they always ask me like, how are you doing all this? Like, how do you manage to do that? Because I work full time too at home
Okay.
and have kids, and
Hmm.
I'm having this podcast and my business and everything else is that I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, like when you look back, it's almost like, dang, how do we do it? And I'm like, yeah, because we're super bosses. Like we're that's our superpowers,
Yeah.
mom. Like we
Yeah.
just get things done. But I think it's honoring like where you're at in your life and learning how to adjust according to where you're at and what works for you rather than trying to copy or do
Yeah.
however everyone else is saying. So I think that's amazing how
Yeah.
you help people. And you have a big focus on podcasting. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
I love podcasting. It's absolutely my favorite part of
Yeah.
my life right
Same.
now. Yeah, it's everything. So tell me how you got into podcasting.
Yeah, so I remember when I was in corporate, I used to listen to a ton of podcasts on the drive over to work, and I just really fell in love with the medium of podcasting. I didn't really have any like goals of starting my own podcast. I mean, eventually I started my own business about after a year and a half or so of being in corporate, and then it worked out so well that I was able to quit my full-time job.
That's
But
awesome.
the podcast wasn't really on the horizon. I was still like actively listening to them. And then one day, I don't know, I just was like, I really want to start a podcast. And I started a podcast. in like 20, what was it, 2018.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like went full time in business 2017, 2018. I started a podcast. And I really liked it. It was really fun. I'm introverted. So it was kind of a big challenge for me to do because I was scared to talk to people. I was scared to get behind the mic. So it was kind of like helped me get out of my comfort zone and things like that. That was as a dual purpose, like getting more visible, but also helping me be more confident and whatnot. And I just really loved it so much
Mhm.
that I was producing it myself. And then I was working as a VA at the time, and I had a client that came to me that had a podcast, and she was like, "Hey, would you be interested in, helping me with all this VA stuff, but also I need help with my podcast. Like, do you do that?" I'm like, "Well, the only experience I have is my own show. But if you're willing to like take a chance on me, then
Yeah.
let's do it." And she was. So from there I realized like, oh wow, this is like a viable thing that people actually want help with. So I started offering those services. And then after I got a couple of clients that were in the podcast space under my belt, I decided to like completely go all in on the podcast focus, and that was 2019, and haven't looked back. Now I have two of my own, actually three of my own podcasts, one with a co-host and then two
Yeah.
solo host ones. And I love it. And I've been in the podcasting industry since 2019 and have not, I mean, I've kind of shifted my services a little bit over that
Yeah.
time, but I have not moved to a different industry because I love it so much.
Oh yeah, it's super, it's amazing. And you're right, it's a great way to get visible. I especially for those who do not like dealing with social media. Although I mean, like there's an aspect to it, but I do know there's a lot of people who are just feeling like it's just too saturated, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming, and so it's also not that good for a lot of people's mental health. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the highlight reels and the comparisons and things like that. So
Yes. Yes.
I'd love for you to share a little bit about that to show moms like how it is possible to still be sustainable in a business without having to rely solely on social media.
Yeah, honestly, I've been off. I mean, I'm not completely off, but I don't post on Instagram, and I have not posted on Instagram for a year, over a year actually. It was like last January was the last time I made like one of those 9 grid situations. I don't post on Instagram. I might occasionally get on stories every so often, but it's not a frequent part of my life. It's like, oh, I just thought about it and I should probably do it, but it's not like one of those things. The only platform that I actively post on that is a social media platform is Threads, and that's because I don't know, it just feels really easy. It's not super curated. There's words over like pictures and video and whatnot. And to me, that feels sustainable to be able to write words and not have to pop up on video all the time. And also, the algorithm over there is still favorable, whereas like on
Oh,
Instagram and other platforms, not so much. But yeah, I really last year really went it all in on Threads, my podcast, and email. And Threads is kind of like my like one that is more, more people are going to find me there. Whereas like my email, that's for nurturing my people who already are with me. And my podcast also has that search engine optimization capabilities as well.
yeah.
So, yeah, so those have kind of been my three platforms that I focused on. I've left all the other social media platforms in the dust. I do occasionally use Pinterest, but I don't consider that social media, even though it is social media. It's
Yeah.
not because you're not commenting on people's
Yeah.
pins and stuff. It's more of a search engine
Yeah.
type situation too.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's beyond possible to not have to be reliant on social media. There's so many other ways to get clients that don't involve social media. There's referrals, there's SEO, there's podcasting and podcast guesting. Even if
Yes.
you don't want to start your own podcast, you can be a podcast guest. And I've gotten clients from that plenty of times where they've listened to me on a podcast, and then they joined my list, and a year or two later they wanted to launch their own show, or they had their own show and then they didn't want to manage it anymore, or they needed some kind of like growth strategy for their podcast or something, and they were on my list for 6 months or less, and they're like, hey, let's work together. And, they found me from someone else's podcast, because I always ask people, like, how did you find me? And then they're like, oh, another person's show or
Yeah.
your own show or wherever. So I think it's just a really great opportunity. It's very low lift for moms to have a podcast, because you don't have to do video if you don't want to. You can literally just
Yeah.
strip the audio,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
don't have to show up like full face of makeup if you don't want to. You don't have to worry
Mhm.
about YouTube if you don't want to. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just a really great medium for moms, because it is
Yes.
something that, if you, especially if you have a mom audience, they can consume while
Yeah.
driving, doing laundry, walking, wherever. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, I feel like YouTube, like, you're not going to be on a walk and watching a YouTube video. I mean, you could put it in your pocket and listen to it, but like at that point, it's like, what's the
Yeah.
point of the video? Because you're not actually looking at it.
Yes, yes.
So,
So I actually, for the first two seasons of my podcast, I was strictly audio because I mean,
hmm
I was by myself doing all the editing and everything. So I didn't want to add
totally.
that on to me. But now in season three, because I've gotten my editing down pat, like
Hmm
nothing. Because that's the thing I always tell people, it's like, yeah, in the beginning, it's a little like you're learning.
Yeah, there's a
You're
learning
not
curve for
exactly,
sure.
you're not even exactly sure how you want to go about things all the time. I've changed things so much throughout my journey, but that's what you like you say, what you're sharing with your journey. It's like, that's what's cool about it. It's like things just show up and you're just like,
Hmm
okay, take a chance on me. And you just kind of learn and you figure it out and you find, oh, wow, I really enjoy this. And now you've found ways to create it into a business for yourself and help others in the exact same way even further, which is beautiful, which is why I'm like, yeah, try things and just get
hmm
out there and
hmm
you'll learn it and then you'll find your way. And then now I do have the YouTube channel because I know that there's some people do enjoy
Yeah.
watching videos. So I'm like, okay, it's available
Yeah.
for them at, but for like I said, I love the audio though, because like you're right,
hmm
as a busy mom, it's easier sometimes to just plug in and go and do things. And that's how I am with my driving. I love listening to a podcast when I'm in the car. It's like
Me
it
too.
fills me up. It really does. And especially, oh my gosh, like because I have to wait in the car line forever
Yes. Yes,
with my
yes.
kids.
That's like my main time that I listen because like if my kids are in the car, they're not letting me listen to my own stuff. They're like, "Mom, let's listen to Frozen," or "Mom, I want to listen to the Pokemon theme song," or whatever the heck they want to listen to.
Yeah.
So that is my time when I'm sitting in the
Yeah.
car line at in the afternoon to pick up my son from kindergarten.
Yeah.
That is when I'm listening to my podcast. And I mean,
Yes.
sometimes I'll listen to it at home when I'm doing like mindless
Yeah.
tasks on my
Hmm.
computer or like the laundry or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah. When I'm in the car
Yeah.
for that, 30, 45 minute in this annoying car line, that
I know.
is where I'm listening.
Oh, I have it even worse because I have to get my son's in pre-K. So I have to go
Oh,
pick him
okay.
up at like 2:30 and then wait for like 20 minutes in the car with him in the car line before they start moving to get my daughter because she's in
Oh,
first grade. So
so
yeah.
yeah, okay. So my daughter's in she's in daycare
Uh-huh.
but I go pick up my son first and then I go get her.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
lucky, but
Yes. Oh yeah.
yeah, but like there have been times where she's been sick and we've had to drop off my son in the mornings and she
Hmm.
gets or pick him up in the afternoons and she's annoyed just sitting there and I don't blame her because it's like, like
Yeah.
it's annoying. I don't want to be here either, but we don't really have a choice.
They love to remind you how impatient. They almost make you feel
Yes.
like wow, I thought I was impatient.
I
It's like,
know,
no,
right?
now I see. Like, other than that, they
Right.
picked it up for me. But yes, they're a hoot. I just love having, I actually even have a son who's about to be 18. He's a senior in high school.
Oh
So I'm like,
wow.
yeah, it's a big gap right there. So it's like interesting to see the changes in myself and in them and their personalities. Oh my goodness, having different kids. It's like, whoo,
I know. Yeah.
it's
You
always
never
keeping you
know
on
what you're
your
gonna
toes.
get.
Yeah. So I would like to touch on that a little bit
hmm
because you brought up coaching and I'm a life coach and I love the power of coaching and I don't think a lot of people really understand how powerful that work is and
hmm
helping them with navigating this part of having a business and being a mom. And so
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about some of the things that that's helped you personally on your journey, especially going from someone who was available for your business solely to now I have a mom and I'm a mom and I got to change things up.
Yeah.
What helped you a lot with regulating and getting through that overwhelm of figuring it all out?
Yeah, it took a bit to be honest. Like at first I was just kind of like, I mean, when my son was born, I took a 3-month maternity leave. So like that first 3 months, I was like kind of out of the
Focus.
business. I was having
Hmm.
people help with my client work and things like that. But when I came back, I was like, ooh, okay, something's got to change. So, like having that team was really helpful in that season when I did have like this big client base.
Hmm.
Once I kind of realized and started like making my, people that I was working with more intentional. Like, I was like, okay, let's get rid of some of these like lower clients and really support these bigger packages and kind of do that. I was able to like thin the team out and things like that. But I think for me, just kind of like one thing that has really helped me over the years is figuring out like theme days for my work days. It's not the same every single week, but I like to do like, I'm not like super rigid with it either, but I'm like, this week I know this is what needs to get done. I'm going to have a content day because I know I need to record new podcast episodes. I'm going to have a CEO day and I'm going to have 2 client days. I always have 2 client days every week
Yeah.
because that is obviously what pays the bills.
Yes, that's everything.
Like, yeah, so
Yes,
I
yeah.
have like a Tuesday and Thursday client day, like a Wednesday content day, and maybe like a Monday CEO day. Friday's kind of a flex day. Like,
Yeah.
if
Oh,
I have extra stuff that I need to, get done. I'll throw it on Friday, or, I might just wrap up by noon because I'm done for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's,
Yeah.
recording podcast episodes with other people or whatever end up happening on that day. But I try to make it flexible and, I feel like my kids have a day, or not my kids, but my son has a day off school almost every other week. It seems like it's like, oh, you have a Monday off here and a Friday off there, a Monday and a Friday.
My
So
kids
I
just
feel
had
like,
Monday and Tuesday off this week. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, I feel like I have to like constantly adjust it anyway. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
basically just say I work 4 days a week because it's
Hmm.
usually what ends up happening. There are weeks that I do work 5 days, but like
Yeah.
with all the random breaks, it
Yes.
ends
Well,
up, not being that way.
yes,
So,
and I think it's important though as a mom that we give ourselves that grace, like of
mhm.
understanding like life is unpredictable and it's okay. You do not have to have a strict routine or schedule for yourself, like
Right.
and that's actually good. It
Yeah.
relieves you from that stress of being
Right.
like, oh my God, wasn't able to do this and that. And organizing, like you say, knowing. See, for me, like I go through my the school calendar now because I made a
Mhm.
mistake of not doing this last year. And then I had all these calls booked on days that my kids were home and it was
Yes.
hard. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, I can get on my calendar and I can
Same.
look at all the days that they're going to be home and I immediately block those out. Like, nope,
Same.
that's going to be, I'm
Same.
going to be
Yep.
present with my family then. I already don't work weekends. Like, I'm already
Hmm.
setting myself up of how I would want to run my business no matter what, where I'm
Yep.
at on my journey. And therefore, like I said, it helps me because then I can breathe. I'm like, okay, good. It's the day that they're off. I can do my work related stuff as far as like you say, like I could use that as a content day or I could use
Hmm.
that for editing, things like
Hmm.
that I don't have to
But
require
you don't want
being
to
with
have like
somebody.
forward facing stuff. Yeah,
Exactly. So
exactly.
yeah, I think it's an important part of like structuring, like you say, and building that. You talk a lot about where I see where you have this 20-hour work week
Hmm.
blueprint for moms.
Hmm.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that if you want to share, because I do think it helps when we have certain things to help guide us
Yeah.
for ourselves that we can customize. So tell us a little bit about how you created that and what that looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that. So I mean, like I was saying with the content blocks and stuff, that's a big part of it, or like just the structured flex kind of
Yeah.
blocks where I'm doing certain things. But another thing, like before I even did that, I did like a time audit. So
Oh,
that's a part of the freebie as well. There's like a little time audit that you can do, kind of evaluate where you're spending your time, and then that could be a week or two that you do that. You literally track your time all the time, no matter what. And then you kind of see like, oh, I am spending time doing things I don't need to be doing. Like a lot of us realize that. And it's like kind
yeah.
of embarrassing. You're like, oh, why was I doing that for so long? Or why did I think that was important? And that's something I realized after I had kids. Like I was doing a lot of things that like I thought needed to be done, but they weren't
Yeah.
really that important. Like it was something like if it fell off my list,
Yeah.
it wouldn't make an impact. It
Yeah.
wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was a client facing
Yeah.
activity that I need to be doing. It was
Yeah.
like little things I just felt like I should be doing, or someone told me I should be doing. So I just
Yeah.
did it because I just felt like I should. So I like kind of did that time audit and was able to
Mhm.
eliminate things that really weren't moving the needle. And like the whole purpose of the 20-hour work week is really figuring out like what those needle moving tasks are and focusing solely on those and figuring out how you like the other task on your plate, figuring out how you can either ditch them completely, so eliminate them, outsource them, whether that is
Okay.
to a person or like a system, like a, tool, whether that's, or systemize it. So like figuring out how it can be better and simplified. So, with the creation of AI in the past couple years, that has been
Mhm.
really helpful for me. Like I was
Yes.
very, at first I was very anti-AI because I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
going to take people's jobs. Like I had this like angry moment about it. And then I realized I can use this for a lot of things, not just business things, but also like life things. Like
Mhm.
I use it to plan like things around the house and like
Yep.
help me create like a spring cleaning schedule, help me create this, help me create that. And then in business too, like if I have a particularly busy week, I'm able to like talk to it and be like, hey, here's what I need to get done this week. Like, no, like here's the top
Yep.
three things I need to get done.
Yep.
Here's the things that I have on my schedule. Maybe I have a dentist appointment or some other meetings. Help me prioritize like my days kind of thing. And I
Yep.
talk to it, like I voice mode it with it, and then it kind of comes up with a schedule. And then I kind of tweak it a little bit and things like that.
Yeah.
It has been really helpful. Using it to create like SOPs and things like that that I can, then delegate to someone in the future if I need to. Just different things like that. Just figuring out how to make everything simpler.
Yep.
Not having a million offers. That's another thing. Like going and looking at your offers and seeing what can be cut. Like, have you even sold this thing in the past 2 years and even in the past year? no. Okay, well, is it because you're not marketing at all? Because you have too many offers? Do you even want to sell it anymore? Like, what's
Yeah.
the deal with the offers?
Yeah.
And really simplifying that. And I try to focus on like promoting like one offer at a time. I have more than one offer, but it's like, this is the thing I'm selling. There might be a
Yes.
downsell and an upsell, but like I'm always talking about this like one thing typically.
Yeah.
And then like, if they're not a good fit for that, and then maybe we go to the downsell. If they're beyond that like mid-tier thing, then maybe we go to the upsell because they're ready for something else. But just not overcomplicating it,
Yeah.
because that's when people don't know when to refer you, because they're like, well, Jenny has 50 offers. Like, how
Yeah.
do I know which one makes the
Yeah.
most sense for XYZ person? And also, it makes marketing things complicated. There's only 12 months in a year. You're not going to be launching something every single
Yeah.
week, even if it's something that's pre-existing. Like, I
Yeah.
can understand if you have like a shop with like
D-
$7 to $27 products, that's
Yeah.
different. But if you're trying to launch like a bunch of mid or high ticket items, like it's just not feasible if you're trying to do like launches every month or something. That's
Yes.
just too much.
Yeah, and I think that's important, like especially starting off. Like they could say just one offer. Just think of one offer and who you're going to speak to, who's your ideal clients, what's one problem they have, how are you going to help them through that, and bam, and makes it
Yeah.
like you say simplify it in the very beginning. And and trust me, that evolves. Like I've changed so
Uh-huh.
much even with me and my and testing things out and just seeing what is needed, where can I help, and I look at myself a lot with that, like of what helped me on my journey and what has transformed my life. What do I feel is something that's needed, something that we don't get to talk about, or something that, is super important for moms. And for me, like
Mhm.
recently, it's been the identity work. I feel
Yeah.
like so many moms, they want to know strategies, but at the same time, it's like if you don't have that identity and who you have to be in order to have what you want, like that's been
Mhm.
the greatest
That's
work
like
for
a
me.
core thing
Yes,
you need
the
before you
nervous,
go
yes.
to the
Learning
next
to
level. Yeah.
regulate your nervous system, learning to take
Hmm.
ownership of your decisions, of your life, and learning how to really have that vision while also
Hmm.
executing and in a way that's like aligned. And
Yeah.
so that's the kind of work that I'm working on now, so that we can eventually regulate the wealth that we want now. Like because we have to be that person who can carry it, right? And
Yeah.
so I had to learn that majorly on this journey, and it's been the greatest like shift from going from like, well, how do I make the money? How do I get the clients? What do I have to do? What's the marketing? I don't know marketing. I
Mhm.
don't know sales. Like what, kind of
Yeah.
thing, because a lot of times when, especially for life coaches, I see this a lot and I relate very much because this was me too in the beginning. It's like you want to help others. You have this
Hmm.
passion to serve or whatnot, but then you become an entrepreneur and that's a whole nother hat that you're having to
Right.
carry and learn like what it means to actually run a business. And
Hmm.
thankfully I'm a bookkeeper. So like working in that field, it taught me a lot about running a business and
Right. Right.
understanding like what goes into that. But not everyone has that. So therefore it's like really going to being like, oh, now I'm a marketer. Now I'm a salesperson.
Yeah.
Now I'm,
Yeah, you
all
start
these
wearing like a
things.
million hats and you're
Yes,
like, "Oh
yes.
no."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I love that. I love that you said that. And also with like life coaching too, like there's so many different directions you can go in, because it is a
Yes.
kind of a broad thing. And that's something I've noticed too with like people who focus on like being a general life coach or something. It's hard
Yes.
for people to want to hire them because they probably have a million things that you can actually help them with. However, it's better to just focus on that one thing. And then, once they get in for that one thing, then we work on all these other things versus trying to
Yes.
market like a broad life coaching package, because
Yes.
it's hard for people to like be sold on that, because they're like, I just need help with weight loss or something, or, mindset or something. But
Yeah.
if you're trying to market like we're going to up level your entire life, it's like it's a little too like fluffy for people. They're like,
Yeah.
but what are you actually helping me with? And I want to also say like it's so hard to like go all in on one product, especially if you're multi-passionate. Most entrepreneurs are multi-passionate. I
Yes.
know that I am. And it's really hard for me to want to market one offer all the time.
Yes.
Like it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard.
I
I
know.
get it. I
Yeah.
get it. So if you're like, oh no, I don't know if I can do that, you're not alone, because it is hard.
Oh
But
yeah.
I would say at least like give it like 3 months of solidly marking that one offer. Like, if you're not feeling like you're getting bites or anything like that, then maybe it's time to switch, but just try it, see how it feels. And, once you start getting those people that are saying yes to the offer, it makes it easier to continue talking about it, because you don't feel like you're shouting into the void and no one's like taking you up on it.
Yes.
So yeah. And you can always pivot in the future if it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And then like for me too, one thing that I do that kind of makes it more interesting, even when I'm selling the same offer, I'll have different launch events to help that.
Mhm.
So it's like
That's
it's not
cool.
the same launch event over and over. It's different every time. Like I have like a private podcast series or maybe like a workshop or something else. So I'll be launching the same thing off the back end, but it allows me to have a different launch vehicle, which
Yeah.
makes it more exciting. And then my brain's like, oh, we're doing something different, even though we're not really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because for me, like having the ADHD, like I do like
I
it's
have
like
the ADHD
yeah.
too.
So it's like it's easy to like want to your mind going from here to there and like oh I could
hmm
do this I could do that and it's
hmm
like whoo yeah sometimes we do have to pause and breathe and sort of
Like
that.
reel it
But
in, reel it in.
yes, but I mean, but then again, I see also, and I want people to understand this too. Even though you start like that, trust me, you're going to evolve because some of my mentors that I follow, like, they had their specific offers over time, but honestly, as they've evolved, they have multiple offers throughout the year and
Hmm
programs now that they offer
Right.
in different
And
ways. And
and
it's
it's
like,
okay once
yeah,
you evolve. But like when you're first
once you
starting out,
evolve.
you don't need
Yep.
10 offers
Yes,
because that's
exactly.
confusing for people and no one's going to know how to refer you.
Oh, and
So
it's
when
gonna
you're
it's gonna drive you crazy too because it's
yeah,
just so much trying to keep up and trying to
yeah, you're
think
like, "Oh
about the
wait, I need an onboarding sequence for this program and one for this
I
one. Oh
need a
wait,
landing page for this one. I need a
yeah, and
yeah.
then wait, when is this cohort for this program launching? Is it overlapping with this one?
Yes.
How am I going to market all of this? So
Hmm.
like once you get like one program really solid, then maybe you can add the mastermind or something, or
Yeah.
maybe the lower tier thing,
Yeah.
whatever, like just figuring out like how that works and giving it time and to
Yeah.
evolve, it makes it so much
Yes.
easier in the long run. So,
Yes, yes. And like I said, the way I used to look at it, especially in the beginning, it's like, you know what? I'm getting practice. I'm getting experience and I'm getting practice of knowing what it's like to even build a launch, create the launch and put it out there. And then regardless of the outcome, it's like I still
hmm
did it. Because there's so
yeah,
much behind the scenes that not many people talk about or really
yeah,
understand what goes into doing all this work. And so it's kind of, like I said, if you can look at it like that, like, okay, it's okay if nobody bought it this time, do it again,
hmm
though. I kind of tweak it a little bit, maybe,
yeah,
but do it again anyways, because it just may be that the energy wasn't there or the
yeah.
messaging might not have been there, or, maybe
Your
right
audience
people just
was
hasn't found you
yeah,
yet,
your
you
audience
know?
wasn't quite there yet. Yeah.
Exactly.
hmm
And so I just want us to have that grace because I'm still on that journey too of like finding my way, of learning what I
hmm
love, what I'm passionate about, how I can really help. And I know that for me right now, the podcasting is probably my favorite thing, but especially the identity work that I'm working on
Mm.
currently is oh my God, it's life changing because it's
Yeah.
really helping me to see things in a way I never saw it before. And I'm like, holy moly, this is amazing because that means that no matter what challenges I face, no matter what comes my way, now I have the tools and the awareness to
hmm
handle it in a way that doesn't make me quit, doesn't make me like
Yeah.
fall into depression, or doesn't make me just like stop or be like constantly brought down in a way that it was before. And so I
hmm
think that in itself, if that's getting your power back. I mean, that's
Yeah.
strong. And that means that no matter what you take on in life, you can do anything. You can be unstoppable in that way. So that's why I'm passionate about that because that again, everyone has their different path, everyone has their different
hmm
dreams, and I just want moms to dream again. I want
Yeah.
moms to stop feeling like they have to put everyone else first, that they don't
hmm
matter and that I mean, even as simple like for me, I think the biggest thing was like I wouldn't eat or drink water even throughout my days because I was so worried about everyone else and
Yeah.
everything else that I
That's a
forgot
big
about
thing.
me, right? It is a
Yeah.
big thing with moms.
And like they always say you can't pour from an empty cup, and it's so, so true. I'm almost 2.5 years postpartum with my second, and I feel like, I finally am starting to like take care of myself again. And, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna do like the littlest things that I was just not
Yes.
doing. Like I was taking a shower, but I wasn't like
Yes.
going above and beyond with my hair care or my skin care. It was the bare minimum. Like, okay, I'll put on some moisturizer here and there, but like now I have like a full routine. And that sounds so silly, but like those
No.
things are the things that like fall off when we are so
Yes.
like our system is so overwhelmed with like just trying to like survive
Yes.
that first couple years of having small children.
Yes, and that's actually why I title my thing Outgrowing Survival, because
hmm
it's what it is. It's like we've been so stuck in survival mode for so long that we don't even know what it looks like to
You
outgrow
forget.
that. And that's why we're struggling is because there's a part of us that a part of our identity who's ready to evolve and grow and be more and know that and be that CEO of her life and business, but yet there's this other part that's like nah, you're not ready. Nah, this
Right?
is too much.
And
It's
if you're not
scary.
doing the
And that's not
basic
safe.
things, you
Yeah,
can't do that for yourself. If you're not even
exactly.
drinking water, then you can't take yourself to the next level because
Yes.
you're not even like taking care of yourself on the most basic levels, you know?
Yes, and I get how hard it is because oh my gosh, postpartum was extremely hard for me because I already
Yeah.
suffered with previous depression and suicidal thoughts. So when I went through it and I was alone, I went through it a lot just in the early stages. So
Hmm.
I wasn't surrounded by a tribe yet. So I was
Yeah.
very alone in that. And no, I had a great husband who I could turn to, of course. But you know how it is. It's like there's only so much a husband can do. It's like when
Yeah.
you get with
Yeah.
moms, like moms who really get what it's like. It's
Yes.
so
Yes. It's different.
different.
It's
It
different. It's
is.
different.
So that's why I'm like so passionate too about like bringing moms together in this way
Hmm.
because I'm like, we need each other. We should be there for each
Hmm.
other. We should be rising and thriving together and helping
Right.
each other
Right.
because I know how dark that can be and how hard navigating all this is and how easy it is for us to forget about ourselves and neglect ourselves. But yet you're
Yeah.
right. That is the most important thing we can do is put ourselves first, put on our
Right.
oxygen mask
Yep.
first.
I actually have a podcast episode about that I did a couple months ago.
Did
Maybe
you?
it's like back in January. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so important. And like
Mhm.
it's something we totally don't even think about because you're like, yes, I'm
Yes.
gonna do my kids first, of course. But
Yeah.
it's like, well, you can't put your kids on if you're not able to breathe, you know? So
Yes, exactly.
I think that's so, so important. And I think it's yeah, we often neglect it because we're just so consumed catering to everyone else. And it's not even just our kids and our spouse, but also like, I don't know, just family
Work,
members that
everything. Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Everything.
everything is like
Everything.
first before you.
Yes. I
And
yeah.
that shouldn't be the case.
No, it should not. And that's why I'm advocating. That's my passion right there is to make that known and to be there to support moms through shifting from that. Because I mean, that's not something, even if you realize that about yourself, it doesn't mean you're going to change overnight. Like that's another thing too. It's like knowing it and then changing your life around to where you know you are actually setting the healthy boundaries, where you are actually taking care of
Mhm.
yourself and you're changing the way you even talk to yourself. Because how many of us are our own worst critic? Then we're
Yeah.
harsh, we judge ourselves, we talk bad about ourselves, and it's like that's the things that I'm wanting to help moms change and turn around and change the narrative of their story of not only what's possible, but also just really learning to truly love themselves and trust
Hmm.
themselves again. And that takes work. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's a very powerful journey to take because for me too, I always think about the kids and how
Mm-hmm.
we're modeling for them because they're always watching. And if they
Mm-hmm.
see that you're not taking care of yourself, that you're constantly sacrificing, that you're constantly putting yourself down, they absorb that. And then they feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
Kids are way more
yeah.
observant than we give them credit for.
Oh my goodness, aren't they? And see, that's a lot. That's pressure in itself right there. And so I just know that I want to help moms to feel good, to be healthy, to be
Hmm.
mindful, to be able to show up in the way that they know that they got this, that confidence, that, you know, and the courage to just do it anyways, kind of thing, to that we show what we can show our kids is possible and help them feel good about themselves and believe in themselves too. I think that's super important. And so I think it's great what you're doing to help moms with getting started, showing them what's possible when it comes to starting their own business, focusing on the podcasting, because I do think podcasting is a fantastic way and it's a fun way to get yourself out
Yes,
there
it's
for sure.
a great way. And it's just so like low lift for moms. So I'm
Hmm.
a huge proponent of it. And yeah, and like starting a business, I feel like in a couple years ago, there weren't many resources out there. You
Yeah.
just kind of did it. And now
Yeah.
there's way more
Yeah.
support. You know, there's way more articles about it. There's
Yeah.
courses, there's mentors that can help you and things like that. And, you know, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years now. So it's like, it's almost second nature.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
I've been through the trenches, like setting
Yes.
up, you know, trying to figure out, oh, which CRM should I use? And not even as basic as that, but just figuring out like
Yeah.
what you want to do and how you want to serve people and figuring out your frameworks and, you
Yeah.
know, and that all comes with time. That's not like you start a business and you have this framework. Like obviously you
Yeah.
need to kind of do some trial and error with your clients before you kind of figure out, okay, here is what my framework is. But just even knowing that what a framework actually is or what that, you know, what that will look
Hmm.
like in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And then you, like you say, testing it out and making sure that you get the results that you are promising and all of that.
Hmm.
It's such a, like I said, it's a very powerful journey, but it also is a very hard journey. And so
Oh
that's
yeah.
why don't be afraid to get the support and learn from people like that who's going through, who's been there, done that, and they're on the other side
Yeah.
of it, or even in the midst of it so that you can grow together. There's nothing wrong with, like I
Hmm.
said, it's better to go about it that way than just keep on trying to do it by yourself because oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
it's just
It,
it's a
it's
pain.
Yeah, no, and you
Yeah.
get stuck too when you're trying
Yes.
to do it alone because you're like you reach a point where you're like, okay, I don't think I can make it to
Yeah.
the next level by myself, but then you're stubborn and don't want to invest, so then you just
Yes.
stay stuck for another 6 months to a year, and you're like, oh, I should have went for it a year ago, but I
Yep.
just didn't for whatever
Yep.
reason.
Well, because and a lot of times it's because we're scared.
Hmm.
We're so we want that so bad, but the idea of actually showing up for it and doing the work, sometimes that
Hmm.
alone can keep people trapped because that's part
Yeah.
of our subconscious conditioning that's trying to protect us, but it's really
Right.
just hindering us from really receiving
Yeah.
what is meant for us. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's what's meant for us is always showing up and not in time we don't always see it, we don't always accept it, but it's always going to come back around, and as long as we're willing to take the action now to change things when it's right and when it's
Hmm.
available again, it will happen for you. But it's all about being willing to just make that decision and just, you guys do it messy. And I know so many people have struggles with that because moms want perfection, and like perfection
Hmm.
doesn't even exist. And it's so
Yeah.
lame, anyways. I think it's so, I love it. I love the messiness of it all because for me, that's helped me to appreciate, when it is nice, when things are going right,
Right.
and also just the realness of it all. So,
Hmm.
so Jenny, tell us if someone was listening and they were like, "Ooh, I like this idea about podcasting and would love to learn more." Where's their best first steps with me connecting with you?
Yeah, so the best place to find me is my website. It's podcastingformoms.co. And there you will find my podcast about podcasting, which basically is super
Mhm.
meta. It's specifically for moms. I mean, you could listen if you're not a mom, but I really cater my podcasting strategies towards moms and help them build a podcast that is not going to cost them tons of time. They are able to podcast in part-time hours. So, yeah, that is like my favorite place to hang out on my podcast. And I post new episodes weekly, and it's my favorite place to be on the internet, basically. I love being on other podcasts too, but
Yeah.
my own podcast is basically my home. So, yeah.
Of course it is. I love that. I love that. I want to thank you so much for your time here. And I always open the floor to my guests. Is there any final piece of advice that you would like to leave with for moms today?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you are just grappling with the idea of starting a business or you already have a business and you're grappling with the idea of starting a podcast, I want to just encourage you to go for it because you never know what can happen until you actually give it the chance to happen. So
Yeah.
try it out. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like it's don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to not be perfect. Like we were talking about earlier, messy action is better than zero action at all because you don't want to sit down 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and be like, oh, I wish I would have started my business. Like, why didn't I do it then? Because I feel like when we do that, then the chances of you starting like lower almost every year after
Yes.
that
Oh,
because
yes.
you just keep getting in your head about it and like
Yes.
so I would say just do it messy. And
Yeah.
I used to be such a huge perfectionist before having kids. And then I had kids, and I'm like, well, I can't really be a perfectionist anymore because nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
And, there are still times where I struggle with control. Like my kids
Yeah.
will get sick, and I'll be like, oh my God, my whole week is falling apart. And it would just, and I still struggle with that sometimes. And like I have not mastered not being a perfectionist, but I've gotten a lot better at it. So I feel like we just need to like give ourselves grace and do the things we want to do, pursue the things we want to do, because we don't want to look back 10, 15 years and be like, oh, I didn't like do the things that I wanted to do because I was so focused on my family.
Yeah.
Um, Taking
Yeah.
care of yourself and nurturing your own passions and your own things that you want to do is really important too. You shouldn't be put on the back burner just because you decided to become a mom.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Beautiful advice. And I can agree more because I think even with your perfectionism, like it's not and it's not going to change overnight. Like it takes time, it takes practice. And those are those moments where like doing breath work or pausing and just breathing and getting
Hmm.
this is where I love doing that reconnecting with ourselves and building that awareness because in those moments when you start understanding how your body feels and how you're feeling and stop trying to resist it and instead sit with it, as uncomfortable as that can be, that's where things change because then you get your power back and then you can be like, how do I get to choose how I respond to this now? Like I don't just react anymore, like where I lash out and I get frustrated or I get, get like overwhelmed or like, how, oh gosh, why is this all happening? It's more of like, no, I get to take that back for myself. And
Hmm.
that still alone is not perfect, but it takes, it's not like you're going to get it and master it right away just because you do it for a week, but just keep on. It's a daily practice. And before you know it, it does become more of an automatic response for yourself, which is huge in you taking back control of how you handle things that are chaotic or frustrating or makes you upset or whatever it is, because we all have things that will trigger us and or throw us off our game. That's life. But it's like how we respond to it makes all the difference in the world. And that's so what you're saying is very true, very powerful, and you sound like an amazing person to work with. So anyone listening, go check her out, especially if you want to start a podcast. Like it is so much fun. It's a great way to be. And let me tell you, as someone who when I first started, like I was afraid that it was going to be so costly. It's not. So there's
No,
definitely
no.
affordable ways too, if that's something that might be a thing for you. Like you can totally do it without it
Yeah.
costing,
Yeah.
an arm
You
and a
don't
leg.
need the
So
most
yeah,
expensive
nope,
mic. You don't
nope,
need, especially when
yep,
you're first starting. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure my mic was $65. And, that's not that cheap, but it's also not that expensive because
yeah.
I've been using it for like 6 years now.
Yeah, there
Um,
you go. See?
and
And
like,
and it's a
you need,
write-off too. Like I think
yeah.
people don't understand too in a business, like the write-offs that you get for things like
Yeah.
that too, it all helps contribute to your success. So again, there's so much out there that we could talk about. I know when it comes to this stuff, but I just want to thank you so much for everything you shared, for all that you're doing to help others, especially the moms. Like I said, there's just endless possibilities for us all, and it just means the world to have people like you out there helping in the ways that you do and getting to come on and share what you have. Just thank you so much, Jenny, for being part of this.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Before we wrap up, I want you to really let these land. You don't need to do more. You need to do what actually works for you. Give yourself permission to explore what that looks like and honor what shows up. Success doesn't have to come at the cost of your time, your energy, or your presence. Simplicity is powerful. When you remove the noise, you create clarity. You are allowed to build a business that fits your life, not the other way around. Messy action will take you further than waiting for the perfect plan ever will. If you love this conversation, make sure you go connect with Jenny and check out everything she's doing. Her links will be in the show notes. And if this episode gave you that little shift, that reminder that there is another way to do this, I hope you carry that with you, because you deserve to build something meaningful without losing yourself in the process. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, make sure you're subscribed, leave a review, and share it with another mom who needs to hear this. Your support helps this message reach more women who are ready to rise in their own way. Thank you so much for being here, for showing up, for growing, and for being part of this journey with me. Until next time, keep rising, keep trusting your path, and keep building a life that actually feels as good as it looks. Much love.